여러분 안녕하세요. 오늘 한겨레담에서는 아주 반갑고 귀한 손님을 모셨습니다. 바로 세계적으로 유명한 사진작가 스티브 맥커릿입니다. 스티브 맥커릿께서 한국의 팬들에게 인사 한번 해주시겠습니다.
Hello, I'm Steve McCurry. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. I hope I can answer some of your questions. It's a pleasure to be back here. We have some of my photographs here in the studio, so I'm looking forward to hearing from all of you out there.
예, 제가 먼저 두 가지 질문 드리겠습니다. 어제 판문점 공동경비구역에 다녀오셨습니다. 한국은 여러 번 방문하신 걸로 알고 있는데 JSA는 처음이었나요?
Yeah, this was my first visit to the JSA. It was quite an amazing experience. I think, I've heard about this area for my whole life, but to actually see this area, this place in person is quite remarkable. The fortification, the number of the security, the barbed wire, the sort of state of readiness. It's just you can't imagine unless you actually see it for yourself. It's amazing.
한국에서 사진 작업을 내년에 하실 예정이신지, 만약에 또 그렇다면 한국에서 사진 전시도 준비하고 계신지 궁금합니다.
I'm very excited to come back and do more work here. I'm very inspired by Korea. I think there's a lot of wonderful cultural sites here. I find the people here very hospitable, very warm, very friendly, and I'm really hoping that in the near future I can come back and do some wonderful pictures. Yesterday we went to a Buddhist monastery, which I found really, really interesting. The nuns, these were women monks. It's just a really a great feeling. It's a beautiful location, and I want to go back and do a homestay and spend some days there, photographing, documenting, and this remarkable place.
예, 이제 그러면 아주 특별한 순서, 스티브 맥커릿이가 본인의 작품 5장을 보시면서 하나씩 짧게 설명을 해주시겠습니다. 먼저 이 사진 좀 설명해 주시면.
This is a picture I made in India during a very interesting festival. The festival is it's a Hindu festival, and they throw color, red, blue, green. And it's a people are dancing, and sometimes they're drunk. It's a big party, and it's a celebration, and it happens mostly in North India.
설명 듣겠습니다.
This is I would say a sacred Buddhist pilgrimage, a place of pilgrimage for Buddhists in Myanmar. It's this enormous rock, and they've painted the rock gold, and people come from all over Burma to pray, to make offerings, and it's very, very popular, and it's a very unusual rock formation because this rock is just on the edge of the cliff, and I've been to Burma maybe 20 times. It's one of my favorite travel destinations.
Is it pure gold?
No, it's this is paint.
Paint.
Yeah.
예, 다음 사진.
I spent a lot of time in Kashmir, which is in India. It's up in the north, and it's a very beautiful region. Lots of mountains. It's they call it the kind of the the Himalayas of Asia, or the Alps of Asia. And in this area, they have this lake, and these men go around and sell these flowers to various people in the homes, and it's really I was very fascinated with these beautiful flowers going through the lake very quietly in the early morning. It was very poetic.
네, 다음 사진 보시겠습니다.
This picture was made in the market, the bazaar in Kabul, Afghanistan. These are 5 women out shopping for shoes, and they're covered in the traditional burqa. And I found it very interesting because on the one hand you have this traditional dress covered, and then it's sort of has all these modern shoes. I thought it was a very interesting kind of juxtaposition, interesting comparison.
네, 다음 사진 보시겠습니다.
I photographed during the Gulf War in 1991 or 2. This was when there were more than 600 oil
Foundation?
Yeah, there were these oil wells
Always.
on fire, and the whole sky was black like night, and there were these camels. I think they were looking for a place to, trying to find some water, find some food, trying to find a way to escape this fire. It was very dramatic.
I hope they did survive.
I hope so too. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. It was a very difficult situation.
오늘 저 스티븐 맥커리를 사랑하는 한국 많은 팬들 중에 특별히 5분을 모셨습니다. 그 질문 듣겠는데요. 먼저 홍광범 선생님께서 질문해 주시겠습니다.
My name is Richard Hong, and I'm really happy to see you, sir, because you are very famous in Korea. And I'm going to ask you probably 2 questions. Okay, I've seen many pictures in the internet, and I saw one particular interview with the Turkish German newspaper, and you mentioned the reporter's instincts in that particular interview, that the documentary photographer and press photographer are basically the same, but they have these reporter's instincts. When you mentioned the reporter's instinct, do you think that kind of a reporter's instincts could be cultivated over the time by yourself, by themselves, or that the reporter's instincts only especially talented people may have that instincts?
I think that photography, documentary photography, can be. This is something you develop, you learn, you hone your skills. I don't think you're born to be a great photographer or a great documentary photographer. I think this is something that you need to learn, study, and through trial and error, through many years of work, you can become better and better and better. So I think a good documentary photographer, any kind of photographer, you need a certain amount of curiosity, you need hard work, discipline, and it just takes a lot of time and energy, and this doesn't happen in a month or maybe even in 1 year. It takes a long time to develop your skills.
I have seen many faces, many people showing in your pictures, even in the landscape pictures. Have you developed such a keen interest in those people, especially those third world people, from your early ages, or you happen to plunge into that skills later on? I'm asking this question because I have seen your picture about Japan, but I have never seen any Japanese people in your pictures. Is that because you don't have any interest in the people from developed countries, such as Japan?
If you go on my website, www.stevemccurry.com, I actually have a lot of pictures of Japanese people. www.stevemccurry.com. One of my favorite pictures is of a geisha walking up the stairs of a subway. Kind of a funny picture. I have a lot of pictures of Japanese. I have a lot of pictures of Korean people. A lot of people of Chinese people. A lot of people just in general all over the world. But what was the first part of your question? Oh, it was about third world. You know, I think that, you know, sometimes in countries where the people are living in a very simple way, perhaps in an ancient way, the people are more accessible. You always have easier access to people living in a simple way. I don't want to say poverty, I don't want to say, but when people are living in a you know, more simple way, they're more approachable. Rich people are unapproachable. Rich people, if you knock on their door, they'll call the police. Whereas people that are living in in more of a simple way, welcome you in, come in, have tea, whatever. The simple people are usually more generous than the rich people. The rich people want you to, you know, they're more guarded. They're more guarded. The people in the third world, very open. Come in, have tea, you know. So I find them more friendly, more genuine, more, you know. So that's why and they're also more interesting. The rich people are very tight, you know, they're very, you know, the poor people, you know, more kind of carefree. I think visually, these people that live in the third world are much more visually interesting. I think their stories are more interesting.
예, 저 다음 질문 받겠습니다. 아주 흥미로운 질문인데요. 우리 저 신숙경님께서 간단하게 자기 소개해 주시고 질문해 주십시오.
Hi, sir. This is Suk. I'm a new person who is interested in taking photographers. I'm not actually a photographer. I'm more like a writer. And my first question is, by my observation of all the photos, not just you, but everybody's, I recently came back from Portugal, but for 2 months staying there, and I met many photographers over there, and here and there I can see from the Facebook. And one of the kind of intriguing question was, the photo is very a momentary thing. So how are you dealing with the pictures? They cannot show the behind the stories because it's the instant thing, and everybody will interpret it in their own ways. But you have your intention of showing the photos, right, to the public. But somehow it could be differently interpreted. For example, recently I know that there is a Times Square photos, like after the war ended, two person kissing each other, the lady and the girl. And I heard that that's a little bit of sexual harassment cases. And but for over years, like for 3-4 decades, maybe 50 decades, we feel that they are the lovers actually. So the one photos can misleading the interpretation in a way. So how can you get over that
Well, I think that
limitation?
Yeah, I think that ambiguity, sometimes when the answer isn't so clear, and sometimes when there's questions, I think this is actually maybe a good thing. So I think it's good that we all can make up our own stories. We can look at a picture and imagine this story or that story, our own interpretation. We all give the picture a different meaning. You mentioned the Times Square picture. I think part of the charm, part of the interesting part of that picture is that we don't know who those people are. And for years we've tried to discover, and it's probably, we'll never know. But I think it adds to the mystery, it adds to the interest of the picture.
Hi, my name is Chi-Yoon Kim. I'm great honored to be with you, and I have two questions to ask you about. The first thing is regarding your homepage, www.stevemcurry.com. I visited several times, and twice a week, or third times a week. I'm a great fan of you, and so I'm wondering whether you're taking pictures after setting up the themes or like categorizations, or whether you're categorizing all the themes, all the sections after you're taking pictures.
After I take the picture. I'm usually shooting without thinking too much. It's both, actually. Sometimes I'm thinking about a particular theme, and sometimes I'm just shooting pictures without any too much thought. It just depends on the situation. But if I see somebody, sleeping or reading, or some couples or somebody playing, sometimes I think, that would be an interesting picture for my, people reading around the world, as an example.
예, 다음 예.
Second question is, as a world-renowned documentary photographers, sometimes do you met with a challenge in your career, or sometimes met with challenge when you take
There's
a picture?
challenges every day. I don't think it ever, in some ways, you gain more experience, but in other ways, it never really gets easier. It's always doing good work, whether you're a writer, a photographer, or anything, requires a lot of time and effort, and sometimes pain, sometimes struggle. But it's something which it never. It's never easy, I would say.
예, 제가 간단하게 보충 질문 하나 하겠습니다. 지금 활동하는 사진가들 중에 가장 강력한 라이벌은 누굽니까? 포터가.
Competitor.
Oh, competitor.
Yes.
I don't really look at it quite like that. I don't feel, I think photographers are competitive, but at this point in my career, I'm not, I think there's enough work to go around. I've never had a problem with getting work. I don't really think of my colleagues as my competition. They are, but I think that's really looking at it in a kind of a negative way, kind of looking at the glass half empty. I prefer to think of the competition as colleagues and friends, and that we're all helping each other. and we're all sort of encouraging each other, and we're all trying to do better. We're all trying to do better work because of that competition. So it's actually a positive thing.
예, 저 다음 이홍건님 질문 하나 부탁드리겠습니다.
반갑습니다. 저는 그 취미로 사진 생활을 하는 이홍권이라고 합니다. 그 사진을 처음 배우고 시작하시면서 많은 연습들을 하셨을 텐데 그런 연습들을 좀 소개를 해주시고 혹시 지금까지도 그 연습을 하고 계시다면 어떤 연습이 있는지 좀 구체적으로 설명해 주셨으면 고맙겠습니다.
For a young photographer.
Yes, when we start our first time as a photographer.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Well, I think my advice to a young photographer, I think I have 3 points. The first point is if you want to be a photographer, you have to photograph. It sounds simple, but you can't say, I'm a photographer and photograph once a week or once a month, or you need to, if you want to play the piano, if you want to play tennis, if you want to be a dancer, every day. You can't be a musician and play the guitar once a month. Impossible. That's the first point. Well, I think the second point would be simply it takes a lot of time, effort, hard work, discipline. You can't be a photographer and go out for sort of 5 minutes and, you know, it's, again, if you want to be a doctor, an architect, some profession, it takes a long time to study. If you want to be a doctor, you can't be a doctor in 6 months. The third point is if you want to be a photographer, I think you need to know something about the history of photography. What I mean by that is you need to know the work of some other photographers because they did such wonderful work, and you can learn from those other photographers. If you want to be a musician, if you wanted to, you need to know something about music. And if you want to be a writer, you should read and know something about literature.
Especially your photos.
Well, I don't know about my photos, but I learned myself, I learned so much from people like Henri Cartier-Bresson, Andre Cortege, Dorothea Lange, Walker Evans, Robert Capa. I looked at their pictures. I thought, oh my God, look at composition, look at the light, and you can learn so much and have such a great experience looking at some of this great photography. That's important.
You are learning every day.
Well, yeah, I think you have to. I think it's fun to learn and expand your mind and to try and experiment, do new things, think in new ways.
스티븐 맥커리 작가께서는 매일 아직도 배우고 있고, 특히 아까 앙리 까르띠에 브레송이나 캐리 테츠라, 도르시아 랭 이런 분들의 사진을 보면서 여전히 공부를 하고 있답니다. 놀라운 일입니다. 예. 마지막 질문 듣겠습니다. 우리 백성규님 간단하게 자기소개해 주시고 질문.
저는 백성규라고 하고요. 일단 한국에 오셔서 매우 기쁘게 생각하고 있다고 말씀드리고 싶고요. 저는 2가지 질문을 드리고 싶은데 첫 번째로는 혹시 자신이 담고 나서 발표한 사진 중에서 혹시 후회하고 있는 사진이 있는지, 그리고 왜 후회하고 있다면 그 이유가 어떤 것인지 좀 궁금합니다.
Well, I haven't taken or I haven't made any photographs that I regret. There are pictures that actually, I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets. I think that, every day there are missed opportunities. Every day we miss kind of photographic opportunities. Miss a picture here, miss a. But that's okay. You wish you. But I don't think about it. I don't dwell on it. I just put it out of my mind. There's no value in having any kind of regrets about your work.
두 번째 질문은 한국에서도 마찬가지지만 지금 제가 알기로는 전 세계적으로 초상권에 대한 문제가 조금씩 벌어지고 있는 것으로 알고 있는데 사진가로서 한 사람의 사진가로서 최근 많은 화제가 되고 있는 초상권에 대해서 어떻게 생각하고 계신지 한번 여쭤보고 싶습니다.
I mean, I never make portraits without people's permission. But I do photograph on the street, walking around, and photograph people many times without their permission, just randomly walking. Yeah. So, I think, but if it's a formal portrait, obviously there has to be some agreement. But sometimes when you're just wandering, walking around, you just take pictures just without people even being aware or knowing that you're taking their picture.
If you want to take my face, I would like to permit.
Okay.
예. 아주 바쁜 2박 3일 일정 중에서도 시간을 쪼개서 여러 시청자들을 만나주신 스티븐 베커리 감사드립니다. 마지막으로 한국의 많은 팬들에게 한국에 수백만 명의 팬들이 계신데 인사 한번 부탁드리겠습니다.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for watching. I think it was some very interesting questions. I hope you were able to get some wonderful information. And again, I'd just like to thank the people here in the studio for their questions, and what a pleasure it is to be here and to be able to spend a few days in Korea.
예, 오늘 어떠셨습니까? 세계적인 사진작가 스티븐 베커리를 모시고 오늘 좋은 질문과 좋은 답변 감사드리고 시청해주신 여러분께 감사드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.